Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, fuel queues return to Lagos as filling stations shut down due to hike in price. Zamfara youths blockade highway over in-season bandits activity in the state. Governor Zulum orders demolition of illegal brothels and criminal hideouts in Maiduguri. On the foreign scene, Gaza aid arrives at border crossing with no plan for delivery. Many thanks for joining us on the News Hour. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you very much for your time. Now, amidst the surge in prompt price of petrol, many filling stations across Lagos State are shutting down due to a hike in the price of the product. Most of the filling stations have adjusted their rate to between 600 and 650 naira per litre, leaving many citizens struggling to cope. Prior to the current development, a litre for PMS was sold at between 568 to 575 naira per litre across Lagos State. Victoria Tokolo sent in this report as presented from our studio.
Residents of Lagos State are appealing to the federal government to come to their aid as the cost of fuel has surged to an alarming 600 naira per litre. In many parts of Lagos State, several filling stations have ceased operations. Those that are still operating are grappling with long queues, adding to the frustration of the populace who now have to endure long hours to be able to get the product. Transporters in the state shared stories of neglect and hardship, lamenting how in this challenging period, fuel attendants are allegedly prioritizing individuals who own private vehicles, leaving many public transport operators in a state of their need.
Yeah, it was yesterday that I heard that there will be subsidy of fuel. So up to now, yesterday I spent almost 2 hours just for me to buy fuel. I closed work around 8 o'clock, but for me to go home, I reached house almost 11 o'clock. I passed through a lot. Even up to now, I don't even work. All this side, there is no fuel. All the filling stations, they have closed their fuel.
Some they are still selling 580 something, but immediately I got there now, they're telling me that the amount is what do you call it? It's 600 naira now per liter. A liter now is 600 naira.
And sometimes when you try to tell passengers, where we normally take for 100 naira before, we're now carrying maybe 150 or 200. Some of them will not understand. They'll want to quarrel with you. Unfortunately, it's not our fault. We are working with fuel. You understand? Our work is mostly fuel-based kind of something. Without fuel, we cannot operate our tricycle and all that. So that's the thing. We need government to look into this issue. This has been lingering for a long time. It's been lingering on for quite a while now, and there seems to be no way out, no solution at all coming from the government quarters.
The unintended consequences of the skyrocketing fuel cost are seen an increasing number of citizens resorting to long and physical tasking journeys on foot, which is taking a toll on their health. It is incumbent upon the authorities to heed the call for fuel price reduction, as it is not only affects the livelihood of transporters, but also the overall well-being of the general populace.
Now elsewhere, angry youths on Tuesday staged a protest by blocking the Gusau-Kaurana-Moda Expressway over the surge in bandits attacks, killings, rape and abduction, as well as looting across communities. The protesters denied commuters and travelers passage on the road. Workers, businessmen, students and other travelers were stranded for hours as the youths barricaded the road with timber logs and stones. Police and military officials were seen pleading with the youths to reopen the road as security operatives are taking measures to curtail the problem. As the tension persisted, the Commissioner of Police in the state, CP Muhammad Dalijan, arrived at the scene accompanied by the Emir of Kaurana Moda, Sanusi Muhammad Ahmad Asha, whose presence pacified the angry youths. Now, the Emir and the police commissioner reassured the irate youths of measures being taken to address the lingering insecurity in Zamfara state. Let's now speak to Yusho Adamu, who is Daily Trust regional editor, and he's joined us now to further unpack this development. Yusho, thank you very much for making the time. What can you tell us about how this situation developed and what, how it led to this blockade of the highway?
Well, the issue is that the people of Sakajiki have been attacked, the bandits, for 3 consecutive days. That is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So these people are tired with the attack by the bandits, and that is what prompted to their action for blocking up the highway in the area, which led to which attracted the attention of the authorities concerned. I know these people did that because it's the only way they can attract the attention of the authorities. God so kind, the timely intervention of the police and Emir of Kaurana Moda has addressed the situation, because the youth at that time listened to the authorities, they spoke to them, and they promised to take drastic action to the problem. Of course, some of the people that spoke with newsmen then confirmed that the personnel, security personnel deployed to the area are not enough to curtail the situation at present. That is why they complained bitterly to the police commissioner then that they need more security personnel around them so that they can have peace of mind and going about their normal businesses. And time will tell, because the CP has promised that they will deploy more security to the area. So we'll wait and see.
So given the urgency of the situation, attacks back to back for the past 3 days, as you just indicated, you're saying that nothing has changed so far. Promises were made, but there is no change with regards to deployments to these volatile areas.
Yeah, the promise is made today, so maybe within the week we'll go for follow-up and see whether the promise is fulfilled or not.
And obviously this protest, this blockade of the highway by the youths is an indication of the frustration of the collective community in that area, as you just pointed out about the bandits attack. And Zamfara state itself has been witnessing this sort of resurgence of bandits' activities and attacks on several communities. What are the people saying about their frustration with regards to this unending insecurity in Zamfara state?
Certainly the situation is pathetic, because the report or situation in the past shows that these people, at the beginning of the farming season, the bandits place levies on the villages to allow them to cultivate their farms. Now is a harvesting period we are in. So the bandits are sure of 2 things: either to get cash, because money is being circulated among the villagers, they cultivate their crops, typical of rural community. They take some to the market and keep some for domestic consumption. So they know they are sure of getting money from the villagers. 2, they are sure of getting crops. If they didn't get money, they will get crops because they were allowed to cultivate the few farms that are around them, or place levy on them to allow them to cultivate the farms. So they are sure of 2 things. That is why the attack is persistent.
Right. And what can you tell us about the dire situation where we've seen so many communities across different parts, whether it's Bauchi or Katsina. I mean, the Katsina State government just recently launched its Community Watch Corps. What about some of those local arrangements where you have people like the NSAKE, for instance, augment the security arrangement in communities like that? Do they have any sort of arrangement like that in the absence of adequate police officers or military men?
Of course, they have NSAKE who are working closely with the police and other security agencies, but they don't have a concrete arrangement as Katsina and other states have. But we don't know of a future. Maybe they will think in that way, or create or form similar outfit that can handle the situation in replacement of the police and other security agencies.
Right. Okay. We're going to have to leave it there for now. Yusho Adamu, Daily Trust Regional Editor. Thank you very much for the update, and we appreciate you for joining the news hour. Right. Let's talk some more developing security-related stories, as gunmen have abducted the wife and 2 children of the lawmaker representing Ipaye Malate Oluru constituency of Moro local government area of Kwara State at the House of Assembly. Now, the gunmen stormed the residence of the lawmaker around 1 a.m. on Monday. According to a community leader in Shao, the gunmen, who struck in the dead of night, shot sporadically before whisking away their victims. The chairman of the state vigilante group, Ibrahim Saka, who confirmed the incident, says they've dispatched their operatives to comb the forest for a possible rescue mission. When contacted, the spokesperson of the Kwara State Police Command, Ajayi Okasami, confirmed the development. In other news, the House of Representatives on Tuesday called on the National Security Advisor and security agencies to review the security situation along the Nigeria-Cameroonian border areas in Benue State and implement urgent and proactive steps to curb further deterioration of peace and security in the region. The House also urged the Nigeria Immigration and Nigeria Customs Service to establish an international border post and put in place necessary infrastructure to enhance commerce and trade between the 2 countries. The House equally encouraged the federal government through the Federal Ministry of Works to take over and develop the road network from Ugbema to Jato in Benue State to Kashimbila and the international highway to the Cameroonian border, to open the region for massive investment and trade for the benefit of the Nigerian economy and the security of the region. Now, these resolutions follow the adoption of an urgent motion of public importance moved by Representative Tessa Ugbo, Representative Kwande Ushongo Federal Constituency in Benue State. Representing that constituency in Benue State. Ugbo lamented the deteriorating security situation on the Nigeria-Cameroonian border in Benue State, which he said has led to loss of lives and destruction of property following spillover of security issues from neighboring communities in Cameroon. The House, while adopting the motion, directed the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons to look into the Cameroonian refugee situation and the internally displaced persons with a view to either resettling them permanently within Nigeria or relocating them to other communities. Staying with the National Assembly, the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations has assured President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of speedy passage of the 2024 appropriation bill when the time comes. Chairman of the committee, Abubakar Bichi, who stated this at the inaugural meeting of the committee, says the lower chamber will ensure the sustenance of the long-established precedent of ensuring compliance with the Financial Year Act through budget passage on or before 31st of December of each financial year. The lawmakers also vowed to exercise their oversight jurisdiction over relevant government agencies in its monitoring of the budget implementation. Bichi added that the Appropriations Committee stands as one of the most prominent committees that champions the cause of lawmaking through appropriations of funds to run the affairs of government by ministries, departments, and agencies of federal government.
similar vein, the committee will ensure its coordinating leadership role to facilitate pre-budget meetings with relevant MDS, while at the same time providing a sustainable collaboration, especially with the sister committee in the Senate and other relevant stakeholders, to enhance the integrity of the budget process through scrutiny, analysis, and the public participation in the enactment process.
I will want to urge people not to take the gentlemanliness of our chairman for granted. People should not take it for granted and think that they can fly into this committee from all parts of this National Assembly. So we are constantly going to guard our committee, scrutinize our memberships to make sure that every member of this National Assembly does not become a member of the Appropriation Committee.
To Borno State now, where Governor Babagana Umar Zulum on Tuesday directed the demolition of illegal brothels and criminal dens notorious for prostitution, gangsterism and other illicit activities within 72 hours. The governor gave the directive during a visit to the scene at Bayan Quarters, a settlement around railway staff quarters in Maiduguri, the state capital. The area harbors suspected gangsters, criminal activities and minors for commercial sex activities. The governor noted that criminal activities not only pose a threat to the security of Borno State, but also perpetuates social vices that undermine the well-being of communities and the dignity of the individuals involved. The governor also announced the revocation of the land title where such criminal activities were being perpetrated, which he said was initially approved for use by the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
This place, people are committing a lot of atrocities. People are killed here, and then it's a breeding place for insurgents here. Gender-based violence is taking place here, rape and all other criminalities.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, Borno State government will not allow to see such activities ongoing in the state. Therefore, I have directed that within 72 hours, everybody shall vacate this place. Government has given directives to completely pull down all structures here within 72 hours. And then the worst thing again is that the land purportedly belongs to Railway Corporation. They are renting it illegally. Government has completely usurped the powers of the land, and then henceforth this land belongs to Borno State government.
Justice Njideka Nwosu-Eheme of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Wuse Zone 2 has dismissed the no-case submission filed by Peter Nwachukwu, the husband of the late gospel singer Osinachi Nwachukwu. In her ruling, Justice Nwosu-Eheme held that the prosecution has established a case against the defendant. The federal government had filed a 23-count charge against Nwachukwu over the death of his wife. After pleading not guilty, the judge ordered that the defendant be remanded at the Kuje Correctional Facility pending further hearing. The prosecution had called 17 witnesses to testify during the trial, which commenced back in June 20 of 2022 and ended on March 10 this year. Osinachi, who passed away on April 8, 2022, was initially thought to have died of throat cancer, but family members and friends claim her death was connected to assault by her husband, who was later arrested by the police. The National Hospital in Abuja later issued an autopsy report which stated there was no evidence of mark of violence on the deceased. Now, the federal government has assured Nigerians of its commitment to restructuring the Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Ministry with a 7-year roadmap to tackle food security and hunger, eradicate poverty, and drive economic growth and create jobs. While commemorating this year's International Day of the Eradication of Poverty, the Tinubu-led administration launched the Renewed Hope Conditional Cash Transfer that is designed to provide relief to 15 million households across the country. State House correspondent Kehinde Amodu reports.
President Bola Tinubu is not present at this project launch held at the Presidential Villa Abuja. He is, however, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and is pledging an investment of 75 billion naira to support small and medium enterprises and startups to demonstrate his commitment to the project.
The government is working to develop and deploy several more solutions and interventions to help Nigerians of all walks of life. These include A. Investment of 100 billion to purchase 3,000 units of 20-seater compressed natural gas-powered buses for cheaper transportation.
The objective is to ensure that the conditional cash transfer of 75,000 naira will reach about 61 million Nigerians. Government is also committed to aggressively alleviating poverty through many economic empowerment initiatives.
And he has a whole program to stabilize the economy, grow the economy generally, and then as a result of all that, achieve investments that increase productivity, creation of jobs, and from that extra expansion of the economy, reduce poverty.
Poverty in several other climes, including countries in Africa like Kenya, South Africa, has been fought using conditional cash transfer. So this is an established form of poverty alleviation.
Government's poverty alleviation efforts have the support of the World Bank. The Global Bank is willing to provide finance for the various measures aimed at cushioning the effect of fuel subsidy removal in the country.
Cash transfers, as the Honorable Minister mentioned, are a widely accepted way, and not just widely accepted, but demonstrated to be one of the most effective ways of delivering relief to ordinary citizens, especially the poor and vulnerable who are hit by economic shocks, by increases in the cost of living, to help them get over those periods when they might otherwise be forced to make decisions that have long-lasting consequences.
October 17 is marked every year to acknowledge the efforts and struggle of people living in poverty. It is also an opportunity to make their concerns heard, and a moment to recognize that poor people are the first ones to fight against poverty. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Staying with developments in the presidency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of a new management team for the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the ICPC. Musa Adamu Aliyu has been appointed as Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, while Clifford Okudiri Oparadu is to serve as Secretary to the Commission. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajurin Gilali, says the new chairman of the ICPC is nominated for confirmation by the Nigerian Senate following the President's approval of the outgoing chairman's request to proceed on pre-end of tenure leave beginning on November 4th, 2023, ahead of the expiration of his tenure next year. Now, the position of the Secretary to the Commission does not require Senate confirmation, and therefore, by the directive of the President, the appointment of Clifford Okudiri Oparadu as Secretary to the ICPC takes immediate effect. The police in Plateau State has arrested some police officers for allegedly extorting members of the public in Jos, the Plateau State capital. The arrested officers are part of the anti-kidnapping unit of the State Police Command. Adu Musa tells us more.
The arrest of the police operatives follow an allegation of 500,000 naira extortion from the complainants on October 15 by the officers, a development that prompted the police commissioner to wade into the matter. The spokesperson of the State Command, DSP Alabo Alfred, while explaining why the officers were arrested, said investigation into the matter revealed that what they extorted from the complainant was 100,000 naira and not 500,000, as reported by some media outlets.
Investigation have gone through, and we have seen one or two things that are not right, and the command have taken note of it. The officers have been apprehended presently undergoing through our Holy Room trials.
The spokesperson of the command further urged the public to report any unethical conduct by the police, assuring that the police commissioner would deal with officers who engage in activities capable of tarnishing the image of the command.
And we are using this opportunity to call on members of the public to always know the fact that it is in this office and through the Public Complaint Response Unit, our monitoring units are there, the IGPS squad is there. These are the offices where you can report such professional misconduct.
One of the complainants appreciated the command for investigating the matter and recovering their money.
Zaka, I'm here today in the State Command Police Station in Jos, and I want to appreciate the Commissioner of Police and the PPRO of this command for a job well done in retrieving back my money, and the officers in question have been charged, and I want to say thank you for a job well done.
The spokesperson, however, said the police commissioner, who frowned at the unprofessional conduct by the affected officers, assured residents of the state that his administration will not harbor bad eggs in his command. Adom Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Talk about accountability. Well, you're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, we'll tell you a story about how to live a long and healthy life. More news stories coming up ahead in just a moment. Stay with us.
If you desire to fulfill your Hajj obligation but cannot afford to pay at a go, you need not to worry anymore. Jaiz Bank PLC, in collaboration with National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACAN, and the State Pilgrims Welfare Boards have jointly introduced Hajj Savings Scheme to help you fulfill your wish. Whether you're a cattle rearer, a farmer, a petty trader, or a parent who wishes to start saving for their children and be getting profit at the same time, this scheme is for you. Visit any of the Jaiz Bank branches or Hajj Commission offices nearest to you to enroll, or go to www.hajsavings.jaizbankplc.com to register. For further information, contact info@jaizbankplc.com or call the number 070-077-30000.
Are you interested in the latest news and developments in Nigerian politics, policy, governance, and other critical national issues? Look no further than Daily Politics on Trust TV. Our panel of experts and key people in government provide in-depth analysis and commentary on the biggest stories in Nigerian politics.
And 33.3 million Nigerians are suffering from multidimensional poverty. It's a much calmer Buhari than the Buhari who was in the khaki uniform.
Naira to Naira exchange rate is higher anywhere in the world. The Naira is higher than dollar exchange rate. So you want to...
Since central bank governor you're doing, you must do it fast. Number of casualties we have had, we shouldn't have had. Security, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we have wronged.
From the inner workings of government to the latest on legislation, rule of law, implementation, and democracy, we have you covered. Don't miss out on the latest political news and discussion. Tune in to Daily Politics, weekdays on Trust TV, your source for reliable and unbiased coverage of Nigerian politics.
Welcome back to the news. These are the top stories. Fuel queues return in Lagos as filling stations shut down over price hike. Irate Zamfara youths blockade highway over incessant bandits activity. The Nigerian Senate on Tuesday went into a lengthy closed-door session after its Chief Whip Ali Ndume stormed out of plenary on Tuesday, citing procedural errors by the Senate leadership. Minutes after the commencement of plenary, the Borno South senator raised a point of order on alleged errors which were not corrected by the president of the Nigerian Senate, Godswill Akpabio. The report.
The error, according to Senator Ndume, was contained in a motion moved by Senator Sumaila Kawu for debate on the need for reopening of Nigeria and Niger border. Without reading the title of his motion, Ndume, who cited Order 51 of the Standing Rule, requested the Senate President to allow for correction of any error made or observed in plenary.
We're just starting the session, and as we go, we should be taking note of the small mistakes that we can make, and we should correct them. The issue of saying that you have ruled, if the ruling is wrong, even the Supreme Court, when it passes judgment.
But Akpabio quickly intercepted him by saying, having ruled on issues raised, he cannot be revisited, and consequently ruled Ndume out of order. The senator representing Kogi West, Sunday Karimi, had attempted to sustain Ndume's line of argument through another point of order, but was also ruled out of order by the Senate President. In a troubleshooting effort, the Deputy Senate President, Jibril Barau, quickly rose to read Order 16, which requires a substantive motion to be moved by any senator for correction or review of earlier decisions taken.
The President of the Senate, in the Senate, and the Chairman in any committee shall be responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the Senate and committee respectively, and their decision upon any point of order shall not be open to appeal and shall not be reviewed by the Senate except upon a substantive motion after notice. So once you have ruled, nobody can bring up that matter again until a notice given and a substantive motion is tabled.
Sustaining Barrow's point of order by Akpabio infuriated Ndume, who raised another point of order to seek for correction of the perceived error. But without being allowed to make a full presentation of his argument, the President of the Senate ruled him out of order again.
This committee shall allocate time to all sequence of speeches, motions, or bills coming before the Senate. So as we are coming under Order 54, this is what is written there. So I'm sorry, Leader, we rule you out of order.
Angered by Akpabio's decision, Ndume packed his documents and furiously stormed out of the chamber. Apparently worried by the scenario, senators hurriedly went into closed session, which was still on as at the time of filing this report. Rashidat Yusuf, for Trust TV News.
Staying with the National Assembly, in the Green Chamber, the House of Representatives has mandated its Public Accounts Committee to investigate the expenditure of 183.9 billion naira appropriated or disbursed as COVID-19 intervention funds to ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government from 2020 to 2022. This followed the adoption of a motion moved by Zakari Dauda Yampa at plenary on Tuesday. Presenting the motion, the lawmaker says 83.9 billion naira was appropriated for the COVID-19 response back in the 2020 Appropriation Act, as well as another sum of over 100 billion naira as intervention funds through supplementary budget and international donor agencies. According to the representative, the Auditor General's Office report and other sources reveal that significant funds for COVID-19 palliatives and international donations were diverted and unaccounted for by various ministries, departments and agencies of government. He expressed concern that a lack of proper accountability of funds allocated for COVID-19 intervention by the federal government and global donor agencies could potentially lead to negative ratings and loss of opportunities for Nigeria. The House adopted the motion and directed its Public Accounts Committee to investigate and report back to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Nigerians have expressed their dissatisfaction over the resolve of the National Assembly to procure luxury SUVs for National Assembly members despite the prevailing hardship faced by Nigerians across the country. Now, in Benue State, a cross-section of residents say the current economic situation in the country, where most Nigerians are struggling to put food on the table, the National Assembly should be sensitive to the current economic climate and reflect on the reality of the people they represent. Jimmy Azande reports.
These residents are worried that with the removal of fuel subsidy and its attendant effect on households,
A sensitive government will bend to making lives better instead of embarking on projects that have no direct positive impact on the people.
Currently, we have a situation on ground where the removal of fuel subsidy has affected a good number of Nigerians. Farmers are not able to buy fertilizers to fertilize their farms. People who are many government workers have parked their cars, and a lot are happening. So my opinion right now is that we Nigerians are having problems more than this. So the concern is that this kind of development is not a development that should be accepted in Nigeria. We voted these people to go there not only for their stomach, we voted them for that so that we, the masses too, can enjoy the dividends of democracy.
It's uncalled for, and for me it's a waste when Nigerians are suffering due to the removal of fuel subsidy at this moment. It's not a best decision for the country. And also another aspect is we have IDP camps where people are residents there, are there, especially for Benue. They are just being there and not located back to their own ancestral homes.
Some of the residents are asking President Tinubu to think of policies that are pro-masses, like a promise in his manifesto.
Right now, they are above that. And the Nigerian legislative is consuming too much money that if the present government continue to bow down to their offers, he will not be able to take care of the future. And it is too expensive. The present legislature don't want to work with him. He has what we call veto powers. It is only used by the executives. And he is an executive, so he should never bow down to any rule or law, because he is the law. If you continue buying the SUV, tomorrow they ask for private jet.
They appeal to the legislators to represent the people and not themselves, as is the case with the procurement of the SUVs.
I'm not challenging the policy, I'm not challenging the government, but rather I'm trying to appeal that if the government will, the government should try as much as possible to reduce the money and empower other people so that at least we will continue to run on the better side. I believe like this, it will be more better.
With 70 billion naira already approved in the supplementary budget for the National Assembly, Nigerians are worried that the lawmakers are becoming a draining pipe for the country's lean resources. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Now, as the international community commemorates World Food Day, Nigerians have lamented the high cost of food commodities in the market. To this end, many have appealed to the federal government to address food inflation in the country for the good of average Nigerians. Aisha Momo's report is presented from our studio.
Among man's basic survival needs, food is the most important. This underscores the continuous patronage of food items despite soaring prices. Some customers and traders at the market in Ogba lamented the high cost of food items and missed static incomes. Wahid Arinjai, a butcher, lamented that compared to Salah period, prices of cows have increased, adding that he cannot tell the actual reason for the increase in prices. Lijoka Olajumoke, we came to the market to get tomatoes, said despite the preponderance of food items in the market, many cannot buy because they are expensive.
Actually, there are food in the market, but they are kind of expensive. I won't lie to you. Imagine 300 naira tomato. Like when the Hausa man gave me, I was like, imagine 300 naira. I can't just buy this thing. But I don't have choice. We have to eat. At least we will take something, so we don't have choice. We just try and do something about it.
Another customer simply identified, as Kemi said, her salary only covers her transportation to and from work, adding that very little remains for food, which is gradually getting out of our reach.
This inflation of a thing, I don't know, they should just try and look into it because it's really becoming alarming. The salary take home is actually small, but the prices of things in the market is not even up to, the salary is not even up to buy things again.
They urged the government to find a lasting solution to the food crisis that is befalling the country.
In a related development, the World Food Day is an international day celebrated every year across the world on October 16 to commemorate the date of the founding of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization back in 1945. Now, the day is commemorated widely by many organizations committed to addressing issues around hunger and food security. Trust TV's Ajibade Praise reports.
Though there are no signs that the day is being celebrated in the state, residents expected that the issues bordering on food scarcity is part of the primary responsibilities of government. These nutritionists share ideas on the need for balanced diet and food affordability in the state.
Food is actually what sustains the human body and keeps the human body functioning properly. So in terms of importance of food, I think food plays a major role in making sure that the human stays healthy, stays fresh, stays energetic, and is able to perform the duties or functions properly as it should. It's a governmental level to individual. People have talked about how the case of food affordability and availability has been a problem over the years.
Other residents said they cannot afford decent meal because of the high cost.
I wouldn't say we are facing a food crisis, because when prices are out of the reach of the common people, I think that is a crisis. The federal government and the state government, they're not investing in agriculture. That's the truth. That's the truth.
No food, we no see food chop, no food. Everything costly in the market. We don't see fresh tomatoes, no onions. Is it rice? Rice, a cup now is 250. Somebody who have like me, I have 4 children. I'm unable to afford common half pint of rice for my children.
Gari is too costly, rice, beans. Even sometimes my children like potato and beans. But the potato and beans now is very costly. Hardly you get it.
Like everything is just going wrong. It's going wrong. Like no food. Like it's even hard for my parents to provide for me. Like sometimes you just eat. It's even hard to eat 2 times a day.
They call on government at all levels to find lasting solution to the food insecurity.
My call is very simple. The government, whether federal or state, should invest more in agriculture. What people are doing here is what they call subsistence farming.
My message to the entire world, and particularly in Nigeria, it's simple. Make food available to the population. People should not live and suffer from starvation and hunger. Food should be available. People should be able to eat.
The 2023 World Food Day, with the theme Critical Role of Water, is geared towards ensuring that everyone gets access to clean water, as it is the major source through which food is made available. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
And in Borno State, the Commissioner for Health, Babagana, says diphtheria outbreak in the state has spread from 3 to 11 local government areas. Ghana, in an exclusive interview with Trust TV, says the state government has set up a multidisciplinary emergency team to contain the spread of the disease across the state. He says the state government is making arrangements with the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention for the upgrade of laboratories across Maiduguri for diphtheria tests, which will end delays in collation of test results.
Now, one big problem that we have, and we're addressing this, is that all the specimens taken from the diphtheria patients are sent to Abuja for confirmation. Until and unless Abuja confirms that, yes, this is diphtheria, we cannot announce to the world, even though clinically suspicious, we cannot announce to the world that these patients have got diphtheria. So at the moment, all hands are on deck, and vaccinations in all areas where the disease has broken out are being carried out by the state primary healthcare services.
And in Nasarawa State, the State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 2 suspects for alleged rape in Awe local government area of the state. Trust TV's Abubakar Abdullahi, who sent in this report, says an ex-convict was also arrested for stealing 23 motorcycles and building materials at a store belonging to the former governor of the state, Tanko Almakura. His report is presented from our studio.
Parading the suspected rapists, the public relations officer of the NSCDC in the state, Jerry Victor, said the duo of Mohammed Abubakar and Usman Umar committed the act after burgling the residence of the victims. He said the suspect lured the victims to a nearby building where the act was committed.
The main suspect, Muhammad Abubakar, was wearing a camouflage that was given to him by, as he said, by one of his friends who he used to wear and intimidate his victims. Of course, he has pleaded with us to, to be lenient with him, because after being asked, he told us that this is not the first time he has perpetrating this kind of crime.
The NSCDC PPRO said that the suspect were arrested after the owner of the building reported the matter to the office of the NSCDC in the area, and personnel of the command swung into action and arrested the suspects. Also arrested by the command, according to the PPRO, is Ali Mohammed, a suspected impersonator and a thief, for stealing 23 motorcycles and 70 bundles of zincs belonging to former governor Tanko Almakura. The command said it has previously prosecuted the suspect, who was convicted with an option of bail, adding that the suspect had promised not to repeat the offense, but failed to keep to his promise.
This was done, of course, not at a spot, but in a consistent way. And gradually he has been doing this, totaling 23 motorcycles and 70 bundles of zinc from that same warehouse.
The PPRO, who said the efforts of the command have led to a reduction in crime in the state, added that the suspect will be charged to court as soon as the investigations are completed.
Now, sedentary lifestyle, smoking, obesity, and lack of physical exercise are some of the factors responsible for diseases like heart disease, stroke, diabetes, conditions that all lead to early deaths in Nigeria. In this report, Salis Lawan takes a look at factors responsible for Nigeria's decreasing life expectancy.
Statistics from the World Bank reveal that malaria, HIV and AIDS, and lower respiratory infections are now the strongest contributors to premature deaths in Nigeria. Experts say millions of Nigerians are not living for long as they ought to as a result of a combination of factors ranging from high burden of illnesses.
People have changed their mindset. Yeah, modernization is good, socialization is good. It's good to have a car, it's good to be mobile, but yeah, you need to be exercising. Sedentary lifestyle is not important, it's not good. Yeah, it's good to enjoy, but however, you have to be exercising your body and you have to be burning some calories. Now, healthy living, you have to eat good food. Eating good food doesn't mean you have to have money. No, it's just a perception and a mindset. It's good for you to be cooking with vegetables, it's good. So there are so many ways of cooking locally made food. Locally made food are the best.
In 2023, life expectancy at birth in Nigeria was about 61.79 years. More specifically, this figure equaled 60 years for males and 64 years for females. These octogenarians differ on the secret behind their longevity.
What secret? I eat food like anybody. What? Honestly, I don't know any secret. As a young man, I used to do many things as a young man. You know, that youth exuberance. You do many things. But I stopped it at the age of 40, until I got to the age of 40 before I stopped. The exuberance, the young men, all the things young men did, I also did it. But I've stopped at the age of 42. By the grace of Allah, I'm now 86. Nothing will make me do anything on empty stomach. I will fill up the tank.
In those days, we get fresh food, not polluted food like what we are now seeing on the market. Direct tomatoes, direct potato, direct everything. And then we eat different foods like tuwo ndawa, combination of food generally, especially when we are in school. We eat so many different foods, and then we do a lot of exercise. At that time, 4 to 6, while we were in secondary schools and even primary school, we do go to field of sports, either play football or hockey or whatever.
Longevity can be considered as the average lifespan under ideal conditions. However, according to experts, there are factors outside genetics that are responsible.
There are so many silent diseases that are hidden in you. That is when you go to hospital for general checkup, we check out your liver, your kidneys, your body system, it's functioning. Then we discharge you, we let you go home. It's not the issue of the money, it's the issue of you being healthy. And it's the issue of you and your relatives, you and your family, you and your siblings. Nobody wants to die and wants to leave his wife with responsibility. Nobody wants to do that. So it's very important for you to believe to have a good health seeking behavior. Visit your doctor, even not a doctor, go to hospital whenever you have a problem, especially men. Life expectancy for men is lower than that of women because men have poor health seeking behaviors.
Reports reveal that life expectancy at birth in Nigeria is among the lowest in Africa as well as in the world. Genetics may also put some at an increased risk depending on family history. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
You're watching the news on Trust TV. We'll take a moment's break. We'll be back with more news after this.
As a demonstration of its commitment to provide sustained access to basic healthcare for all Nigerians, the Federal Government of Nigeria, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has established the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is designed to deploy Operations Fund directly to primary healthcare facilities in every political ward nationwide to ensure the availability of quality PHC services to all Nigerians, irrespective of where they live or work. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund guarantees 24 hours availability of midwives, other health workers, and health supplies in at least one PHC in every political ward. Ask from your local government health department for the BHCPF PHC in your ward to get more information and benefit from the services. Think access to healthcare for all. Think universal health coverage. Think Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722 or visit www.nphcda.gov.ng.
Welcome back to the news. The Department of Development Control of the Federal Capital Territory Administration is set to begin a post-development audit of houses in satellite towns across the 6 area councils of the FCT. The Director of Development Control, Mukhtar Galadima, told journalists in Abuja that the exercise, which would commence in the Dawaki area of Buari Area Council, would affect more than 15 satellite towns. He listed Gwagwalada, Kuje, Karshi, Buari, Kubwa, and Abaji as some of the towns to be affected. Galadima explained that because of lack of engineering designs in some of the satellite towns, the department was asked not to grant approval to some of those areas, noting, however, that some of them now have such designs like Dawaki. He reminded residents that they cannot build without approval in the FCT, adding that as a city, the Federal Capital Territory needs to have a database for the development taking place in terms of services to be rendered, property taxation, and other parameters. To developments on the foreign scene, Egyptian aid trucks moved closer on Tuesday to the only crossing to Gaza not controlled by Israel, with no agreement in place to deliver relief, and the Palestinian side still closed due to strikes. Now, it was unclear when the delivery or the trucks might be allowed to pass through. Some people with dual citizenship who have gathered in recent days awaiting the opening of the Rafah crossing began approaching the border on Tuesday, but many say they were staying away due to airstrikes by Israel. After 9 hours of negotiations, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says early on Tuesday that he had agreed with Israel to, quote, develop a plan to get aid into Gaza. Egypt says the Rafah crossing, a vital artery before the fighting and now a route for desperately needed supplies into the Israeli besieged Palestinian enclave, has not been officially closed, but has become inoperable due to the Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza side. Earlier on Tuesday, some 160 trucks left Al Arish in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, where hundreds of tons of aid have been awaiting an agreement on aid delivery, according to eyewitnesses who spoke to Reuters. Right, for the latest in sports, let's now join Emmanuel Fashemi for the latest.
Super Eagles and Nottingham Forest striker Taiwo Awoniyi is back to training after overcoming an ankle injury that kept him out for a month. The Nigerian forward missed the international friendly games against Saudi Arabia and Mozambique due to injury. Taiwo Awoniyi, who is important to Steve Cooper team setup, scored in the first 3 games for Forest at the beginning of the new season. His injury comes at a time when Forest are striving to get a settled side assembled, and as a result, the Reds will hope that the fact he's been spotted back on the grass is good news regarding his injury. The player, who was called extraordinary by Steve Holt earlier this season, is a massive asset to Nottingham Forest. In cricket, Nigerian Cricket Federation President Uyi Akpata has assured a better and improved championship next term. Nigeria held the opening edition of the West African Trophy Tour with 4 countries participating. The NCF president commended Nigeria for hosting the event, while he promised a better competition in subsequent editions. It is a very successful experiment. We are glad to have the national team that complemented all our efforts with a sterling performance. For us, after 5 years, great cricket has come back to stay in the West African region, and next year is going to be better and bigger. Yellow Greens of Nigeria dominated and won the trophy at the expense of Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Rwanda. And that is it on sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
Well, that's our bulletin for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We always encourage you to follow us across our social media platforms to follow more of our content, and you can always visit trusttv.com for the latest news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the rest of the team, thank you for watching the news, and good night.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.